As we stand on the brink of what could be a recession worse than the Great Recession of 2008, the warning signs are becoming impossible to ignore. The U.S. national debt has skyrocketed to $35 trillion, with the government now spending $2.4 billion every day just to cover the interest. This staggering debt, combined with yearly deficit budgets, is being fueled by central banks that are monetizing these deficits, leading to rampant inflation. The Federal Reserve has played a significant role in this unfolding crisis. By keeping interest rates at near zero levels for almost a decade, the Fed inadvertently set the stage for the high inflation and economic turmoil we're now experiencing. In an effort to combat this inflation, the Fed's decision to raise interest rates over the past 2 years has had unintended consequences, including breaking the Bank of Japan and triggering a global economic bloodbath on Monday, August 5th, 2024. With the economy teetering on the edge, it's more important than ever to take steps to prepare for the incoming recession. In this video, we'll explore the current situation, how we got here, and what you can do to protect yourself and your finances during these challenging times. The global financial market endured one of its most devastating days, with repercussions felt across continents. On August 5th, 2024, we witnessed this firsthand as both Wall Street and the Nikkei stock markets took a nosedive. Investors around the globe were left puzzled and anxious as they watched their portfolios shrink. Wall Street faced one of its toughest days since mid-June. The S&P 500 fell by 2.1%, closing at 4,137. This drop was a major signal of the market's heightened volatility and investor anxiety. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, DJIA, wasn't spared either, plummeting by 1033.99 points, or about 2.6% to finish at 38,703.27. The tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite followed suit, dropping 576.08 points, approximately 3.4%, to close at 16,200.08. Even the Russell 2000 index, which tracks smaller companies, saw a significant decline, falling by 70.15 points, or around 3.3%, to end the day at 2039.16. Over in Tokyo, the Nikkei 225 faced its worst day since 1987. The index lost a jaw-dropping 4,451 points, marking its biggest point drop ever. In percentage terms, it was a catastrophic 12% fall, pushing the Nikkei into bear market territory, with total losses reaching 25% since early July. Compounding the issue, the Japanese yen surged to a 7-month high against the US dollar, further intensifying the market volatility. So, what caused this market meltdown? Multiple factors contributed to this significant downturn, including the pivotal role played by Japan. Japan's recent decision to increase interest rates and sell off U.S. Treasury bonds has stirred significant discussion among economists and policymakers. This marks a major shift from Japan's long-standing economic strategy, where negative interest rates have been a key feature for years. The Bank of Japan's BOJ signals toward potential interest rate hikes indicate a substantial change in its monetary policy, reflecting the evolving economic landscape. For over 30 years, the Japanese yen has experienced a prolonged downtrend. During this time, the BOJ maintained negative interest rates, an unconventional strategy aimed at stimulating economic growth by encouraging borrowing and spending. With Japan's financial system grappling with decades of deflation, an aging population, and weak demand, negative interest rates, where banks are charged for holding excess reserves, served as an incentive for banks to lend more. This approach was feasible because inflation in Japan had been virtually non-existent. However, the global economic environment shifted dramatically when the United States encountered record high inflation from 2022 to 2023, leading to rapid interest rate hikes. Suddenly, the U.S. offered highly competitive, risk-free interest rate. This situation set up perfect conditions for the carry trade. Traders borrowed yen at Japan's low interest rates, converted them to U.S. dollars, and invested in U.S. treasuries with higher rates. They made a profit from the difference. Additionally, the yen's historical decline against the US dollar boosted these profits when they had to repay the yen-denominated loans. This disparity in interest rates weakened the yen, prompting Japanese authorities to intervene in the currency market. In a surprising move, the Bank of Japan BOJ recently ended its negative interest rate policy, raising rates by 0.5% to a target of 0.25%, the first increase since 2007. Japan is also considering selling off some of its U.S. Treasury holdings as part of a broader strategy to stabilize the yen. These moves have significant ripple effects, impacting global financial markets, especially in the United States. Due to its large holdings of U.S. Treasuries, which total around $3 trillion, Japan is a major player in global finance. However, as Japan raises its interest rates, the yen has jumped to a 7-month high against the US dollar, increasing market volatility. When Japanese investors, who hold a significant portion of US Treasuries, begin to adjust their portfolios in response to domestic interest rate hikes, it can create notable volatility in US financial markets. The shift from US assets back to Japanese assets means there is a significant outflow of capital. Such movements are closely monitored by global investors who may also start reevaluating their investment strategies in light of these changes. This realignment can lead to increased market volatility as investors react to new risks and opportunities. If Japanese investors known for their considerable influence change their stance, other international investors may follow suit, further amplifying market fluctuations. But why would Japan make such decisions if they could cause such significant disruptions? The answer lies in inflation. As the Japanese yen declines in value, more of the currency is needed to purchase goods and services from other countries. To prevent further depreciation of the yen, Japan was forced to raise interest rates. Additionally, Japanese financial institutions have recently faced substantial unrealized losses on their bond portfolios. For example, Norinchukin Bank planned to liquidate $63 billion in US and European treasuries to manage a net loss of 1.5 trillion yen for the fiscal year. By selling off some U.S. treasuries, these institutions aim to reduce interest rate risk and diversify into assets with different risk profiles, such as corporate and individual credit risk. This move, while necessary, has significantly contributed to the current market turmoil, underscoring the interconnectedness of global economies and the ripple effects of monetary policies and currency fluctuation. This raises another important question. Is America on the brink of another economic recession, one that could rival the magnitude of the Great Depression? To find answers, we must look at how rising interest rates, increased national debt, and changes in consumer behavior are affecting the economy. Japan, a major player in global finance, holds a significant portion of U.S. treasuries. But what happens when Japanese investors start repatriating their funds to benefit from rising domestic interest rates? It means reduced demand for U.S. treasuries, which could spell trouble for the U.S. economy. The United States recently hit a historic milestone. The national debt has skyrocketed past $35 trillion. That's roughly $104,000 per person, or an eye-popping $266,000 per household. But it's not just about the numbers. It's about the bigger picture. One of the critical metrics economists watch is the debt to GDP ratio, which now stands at a staggering 122%. Once a country crosses the 100% threshold, it raises red flags about fiscal sustainability. What's more, the US government is now shelling out $2.4 billion every day just on interest payment. Not only that, this year, Moody's and Fitch, two of the largest credit rating agencies, downgraded their outlook on US debt. They cited the deterioration of fiscal conditions, heated debt ceiling debates, and the rapid increase in interest payments as the reasons behind their decision. So, why does Japan's move matter? With decreased demand for U.S. treasuries, yields are likely to rise. Higher yields mean higher interest rates, which translates into increased borrowing costs for the U.S. government. This means more money will go toward interest payments, leaving less for crucial areas like infrastructure, education, and healthcare. But it doesn't stop there. Higher treasury yields often lead to higher mortgage rates. If you're thinking of buying a home, this could mean paying more for your mortgage. The housing market, a key pillar of the U.S. economy, could slow down, impacting everything from home sales to rental demand. A sluggish housing market also means fewer construction jobs. Fewer new homes being built can lead to potential layoffs in the construction industry, affecting livelihoods across the country. And it's not just homeowners who feel the pinch. Businesses, too, rely on borrowing to finance their operations and growth. As interest rates rise, borrowing becomes more expensive, cutting into profit margins. Companies might reduce their investments in new equipment or technology, which could stifle innovation and growth. In extreme cases, higher borrowing costs might force businesses to make tough decisions, including layoffs or hiring freezes. This could create a domino effect, leading to broader economic slowdown. Now, what do I mean by that? Historically, when unemployment rates start to climb, it's often a signal that an economic slowdown is on the horizon. In July, we saw the unemployment rate jump by 0.3 percentage points, reaching 4.3%. This may not seem like a huge leap, but in economic terms, it's significant. Investors and economists alike are starting to worry that this could be a sign of an impending recession. So why is this increase so concerning? Well, when more people are out of work, consumer spending tends to drop. And since consumer spending is a major driver of economic growth, a decrease in spending can slow the economy down even further. The job market is showing some warning signs. Businesses are starting to pull back on hiring, and layoffs are becoming more common. This could mean that companies are getting nervous about the economic future and are trying to cut costs wherever they can. But here's the tricky part. This can create a sort of feedback loop. As unemployment rises, people have less money to spend. When people spend less, businesses earn less, which could lead to even more layoffs. This cycle could potentially drag the economy down further and make recovery much more difficult. So, what happens next? With unemployment rising, the pressure is on policymakers to step in and stimulate the economy. This could mean more government spending, tax cuts, or other measures designed to boost economic activity and prevent a full-blown recession. With recession fears growing, speculation is mounting that the Federal Reserve may consider an emergency rate cut to stabilize the economy. Such cuts are rare and typically reserved for times of significant economic distress, but the current market conditions have led some experts to call for immediate action. Prominent economist Jeremy Siegel has suggested that the Fed could implement a 75 basis point emergency rate cut within the next week, followed by another rate reduction at the September meeting. This aggressive approach, according to Siegel, might be necessary to prevent further economic decline and restore confidence in the markets. The futures market reflects this sentiment, with predictions indicating a 60% chance of a 25 basis point emergency rate cut in the near term. Investors are closely watching the Fed's next move, as any decision will have far-reaching implications for banks, markets, and consumer products like credit cards, mortgages, and loans. An emergency rate cut would lower borrowing costs, potentially spurring economic activity by making it cheaper for businesses and consumers to access credit. However, it also signals that the central bank views the current economic situation as severe, which could further unset markets already on edge. The question is, what are the potential short-term and long-term effects, and how might different sectors and industries be affected by the rate cut? The Federal Reserve Fed is currently facing mounting pressures to cut interest rates, driven by concerns over economic slowdown, rising debt levels, and global geopolitical tension. While a rate cut could provide short-term relief to the U.S. economy, it carries significant risks, particularly concerning the stability of the U.S. dollar. A potential rate cut could accelerate the devaluation of the dollar, which would have far-reaching implications, including fueling the ongoing de-dollarization movement worldwide. When the Fed cuts interest rates, it makes U.S. assets less attractive to foreign investors. Think of it like this. If you're an investor looking for the best return on your money, lower interest rates mean lower returns. So what do? You start looking elsewhere, maybe to countries with higher rates or more stable currencies. As a result, demand for the dollar drops, leading to its depreciation. And when the dollar loses value, we could see higher inflation and more expensive imports here in the US. But it doesn't stop there. There's an even bigger issue at play, something called de-dollarization. This is the global movement where countries are reducing their reliance on the US dollar in international trade and their reserves. Countries like China and Russia have been pushing hard for alternatives, promoting their own currencies and even exploring digital currencies. And with the dollar potentially weakening further, this movement could gain serious momentum. So, what does this mean on a global scale? For decades, the US dollar has been the cornerstone of global finance, giving the United States a huge amount of influence over the world's economy. But if the dollar weakens, this influence could start to erode. We're already seeing more countries making bilateral trade deals that bypass the dollar entirely. This could lead to a more fragmented global financial system where regional currencies start to play a bigger role. Moreover, a rapid decline in the dollar's value could destabilize global financial markets, especially in countries that depend heavily on the dollar for trade and debt. This could set off a chain reaction, leading to broader economic crises around the world. And let's not forget, a shift away from the dollar could also mean a shift in global economic power, with emerging markets like those in Asia gaining more influence. Now let's look at the biggest development in BRICS in terms of financial independency. Russia and Iran, both members of the BRICS group, have taken a pivotal step in strengthening their economic collaboration by integrating their national payment systems. This strategic move enables the two nations to conduct trade and financial transactions using their respective national currencies, the ruble and the rial. By doing so, they are reducing their dependence on the US dollar and bypassing Western-dominated systems such as SWIFT. The integration involves connecting Iran's SEPAM system with Russia's system for transfer of financial messages SPFS, thereby streamlining transactions between the two countries. This linkage allows Iranian and Russian banks to issue and accept each other's bank cards, greatly facilitating commerce for businesses and individuals in both nations. The first transactions through this newly integrated system have already been successfully completed. Both countries have set an ambitious goal to double their annual bilateral trade from $4 billion to $8 billion, underscoring the significance of this initiative. This effort is part of a broader strategy within BRICS to develop a more resilient and self-sufficient economic network. By deepening economic ties and reducing vulnerability to international sanctions, BRICS members like Russia and Iran are working towards creating a more robust and interdependent partnership that can withstand external economic pressure. So, what's the bottom line? The Fed's decision to cut rates might seem like a domestic issue, but its impact could be felt worldwide. From weakening the dollar to accelerating the de-dollarization movement, this is a story that's still unfolding, and it's one we'll be keeping a close eye on. That's why no matter what happens, it's always important to be prepared for the worst. In light of the current market volatility and economic uncertainty, it's crucial to take proactive steps to protect your financial well-being. Here are some key strategies to consider. Number 1. Build an emergency fund. Ensure you have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses saved in an easily accessible account. This cushion can help you weather unexpected financial setbacks without needing to dip into your investment. Number 2. Diversify your assets. Spread your investments across different asset classes, such as stocks, bonds, and real estate. Diversification can reduce risk by ensuring that you're not overly reliant on any single investment. Number 3. Hold on to your investments. While it may be tempting to sell during a market downturn, history shows that bear markets typically recover. Staying invested allows you to benefit from potential gains when the market rebounds. Number 4. Avoid panic selling. Selling in a panic can lock in losses. Instead, focus on your long-term financial goals and try to remain calm during market turbulence. Number 5. Maintain a consistent income stream. If possible, look for ways to stabilize your income, whether through full-time employment, side gigs, or passive income streams. Having a reliable source of income can provide peace of mind during uncertain times. Number 6. Keep more cash on hand. Increasing your cash reserves can give you more flexibility and security. Cash can be particularly valuable if opportunities arise to invest in undervalued assets during a downturn. By following these strategies, you can better navigate economic uncertainty and position yourself to take advantage of opportunities that may arise in the future. Now more than ever, it's essential to stay informed, remain calm, and make strategic decisions to safeguard your financial future. As Warren Buffett wisely advises, be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. By preparing for uncertainty and thinking long-term, you can navigate these turbulent times and emerge stronger on the other side. Let me know what you think down below in the comments section. As always, if you like videos like this, just make sure to hit the like button or subscribe. Thank you so much, and until next time.